So the build, we open our Unity project. Step one, check. Here's my Unity project. Wonderful. Step two, we go to File, Build Settings. In Unity 6, this is known as Build Profiles, and they've made it look a little bit harder to focus on, but all of it is the same. We have Scenes List, and we have a button for Build. Build and Run, and Build. Similar to here that you see in your Build settings. In our build settings, we need to add all of the open scenes that are going to be in our game. File, build settings. And right now you can see there are no scenes in my build whatsoever. Little button here, add open scenes. Hey, I've got one level now, and it's given a scene index of 0. So we start at 0, that means it's the first scene that's going to be open in your game. If we created a main menu, and I think we will do that right now, we will put that above. So yes, actually I'll do that right now. But right now, when I say right now, I mean in a minute. So we reorder our scene to make sure the correct one opens first. I only have one scene. I'm going to make a new scene and call it main menu. New scene. Basic, built-in. Yeah, sure. Somehow that didn't save. All right, let's try that again. Sure. But why would this not work? New scene. It didn't feel like it. Damn. It knew I was demoing it to a room full of people, so it was like the universal theory of malignance. Why the buttered side of toast always lands face down. Okay, scene is saved. File, new scene. It said I'll try an empty. Aha, we have a new scene. It worked that time for some reason. All right, perfect. I'll just save this scene as. I'll put it in. I should have a folder for scenes. I don't. I'll call it main menu, and we'll populate it later with stuff. Back to my build settings. Oh, I'll add a camera just for fun. Do we have a camera? Nothing in it. Save scene. Back to build settings, I could click open scene, add open scenes like before. Or I can just drag my scene in to the stack. And just the menu, the main menu, welcome, press start, quit, should be first. I would just drag that to be first in the stack, scene index of 0. Next, we need to pick the platform we're developing for. So most of you will be developing for Windows, Mac, or Linux. I would recommend if you have an itch or Simmer account, upload a build there. The Windows build can be uploaded there. If you wanted to play in the browser, as in it'll play inside of Chrome or Firefox, export as WebGL. Might require an extra bit of a download asset package. Same with all of these. If you want to export to PS4, there's an extra package to download because they have current security standards. But any of those, they're all free to download if you want them. And for Android as well, export that way. We just want Windows, Mac, Linux. Main menu first, ready to go. We can build. Now, you can make a new folder somewhere. You can put it inside here. Build. And I'll just put Seamus, because I made it. V1. Whoop. And I'll just put the date on it. 6/12/24. I know it says date modified here is 6/12/24. You'd think that'd be enough, but then you're transferring builds between computers. The date created changes. people will thank you for putting the date in there. We know exactly when it's created. Select folder, click, it's going to build. Create the folder, click save. And when we have the build file, we can find the exe and run the standalone player. Has this completed? It has. Oh, where is my actual folder? Let's find Show and Explorer, and I can find that on my PC. There we go. There's my project. There's my build folder. And here is my exe and all of these supplementary files. Common mistake, happens every year. At least one student does this. They only send me the exe because it looks like a Unity package. It looks like it has everything in it. File cannot run without all of this other stuff as well. The data, the mono bleeding edge, the crash handler. So please send me the entire folder if you're sending me directly. If it's uploaded to Simmer, that eliminates a lot because it's online. So there's my build. I can run it. Made with Unity. And there's nothing to see because I haven't added a menu yet. I can't get to my next scene. So let's make a quick UI. Very, very quick. First, what's the name of this game? Give me a name for this game. Bean Parkour. I like it. Not the worst. So, I'll create a title that says Bean Parkour inside of my UI. Before I can create any UI elements, I need to add a canvas. And to do that, all I need to do is create a single UI element. So I'll create a UI image right here. See, I automatically get a canvas and an event system. This is to handle the UI. Image. Title, Bean Parkour. If we look in our game view, we can see there is a UI element on screen. This little square. If we want to modify its position, we need to look at our canvas. So there's my camera. And you can see this 3D cube right here is sitting in front of the camera. So that'll be the general scale you'd see your assets at, but your canvas is going to be much, much larger. This is to allow for many different screen sizes and resolutions. Just don't be freaked out by how large it seems in comparison to your world. There is our entire canvas. If I double click on the canvas, that is the whole thing. And our world is usually this tiny, tiny collection of elements down here. You don't need to resize the canvas to fit. This canvas will automatically map to any screen size. The four corners will map to it, whether that's an Android screen or a massive screen like this. In order to modify stuff, we just focus on it and we switch to 2D mode. F to focus, switch to 2D mode up here. I'm just going to flatten off our plane. Now I can position where I want this image to be on screen. I can say where it is anchored to. So I want it anchored to the center. It's already anchored there. We select that anchor. This means if I resize my screen, this element is going to stay stuck in the center. If, say, I wanted it to be along the right-hand side of the screen, now I'm resizing, you'll see that little image is flowing off screen. If I reset its anchor to the correct position, see it's now nested to that edge of the screen. It's going to stick there no matter how big or small these screens get. Stuck to the edge. So UI elements, you want to live in the corner. Say you wanted a mini map in that bottom right corner. Stay there and never lose it. So important to set up your anchors for any of this stuff. Now, this is an image. We're going to say this is our image title. What do we say? Bean Parkour. Let's jump into my favorite design software, UI design and text design and just digital design. Figma. Okay, so I'm just going to create a title in here. Bean Parkour. Typography, let's think about it. What's a fun typography? Ooh, stop me if you like one. Not. Sure. Something chunky. Oh, there, that's interesting enough. Let's go central. I'll add a stroke. All right, that'll do. There's our title, Bean Parkour. So I'll just export this as an image, Bean Parkour. And there it is, ready to be brought in as an asset. Maybe need higher res for that. Handly Figma's good for that. Let's do 4 times the size. Okay, bigger, better, more resolution. Back into Unity, I'm going to bring in this asset. And by default, it brings it in ready for 3D use, as in ready to throw on a 3D model. If I go back to my cube, right down here. Oh, leave 2D mode. I can throw that on, no problem. It'll be a material. But we want to use it for our UI. So we need to set it up that way. Texture type default. We need to change that to sprite 2D and UI. Otherwise, it cannot be used by the UI engine. Also, for making 2D games, set it for sprites. Sprite mode, single. Why would you have multiple? correct. 2 million points. I hope you're all keeping count of these. So yeah, sprite sheets where you have multiple frames of the animation split onto one sheet. We set it to multiple. Unity can split them up. We don't need to split them up outside. Anyway, this is just one. Single pixels per unit 100. Sure. Filter mode, no filter. I don't want it smoothed over. Quick apply. Oh wait. And I want the alpha channel RGBA alpha. So RGBA 32. Okay, now we can jump back to our canvas. 2D mode. Source image right here. Bean Parkour. Oh, and there is a way of getting this back to its proper aspect. I cannot remember the shortcut. Oh well. Okay, it's in the center. I'm going to anchor it to the top center. Bean Parkour. There's our game, little cube. Let's add a panel next to our system and a couple of buttons. I'm going to right click on the canvas, go back to UI and add a panel. I'm just going to resize this. So right now it's set to stretch on all four. So it's just going to cover the whole screen. I'm just going to shrink this down. Put it in the center, and I might just say stretch left and right, but not top and bottom. Or I might say not stretch at all. So I say stretch left and right. It's going to maintain that screen distance from the edge as I scale in or out. Can cause some kind of problems with buttons. We could also just say center, and it will stay in the center. Next, I'm going to need two buttons, one to start the game, one to quit the game. I will add to the panel by right-clicking, and I'm going to use the legacy buttons. A legacy button. Give it a name. Start button. And I will duplicate. Bring that down. And say quit button. Now, our anchors here are no longer set to the screen because they're children of this panel. Our anchor is to this panel. So now they're anchored to the center of this panel. So if the overarching panel had a stretch, those would be affected by it. You see, they are children of it. Press play. They already have a bit of interactivity. They're clicked and unclicked states, which you can modify in here. Outside of play mode, apparently. And inside we have the text objects. Obviously, we can say what they should say here. You can load in your own fonts just by importing them the way you would any font. True type fonts, standard fonts, if you want. Okay, so our buttons are set up. We just need to add a little bit of logic to launch us into the next scene. And for that, we'll need a bit of script, but very, very simple script. I'm going to add the script to the canvas. New script, UI controller. Okay, I can get rid of start and update. I don't need those. I can just make functions that I need to make public for each button. So I on start button. On, whoops, on quit button. Okay. Add a debug log to make sure these are working. Oops. So our two functions, not doing anything yet, except letting us know that they've been pressed. But all we need to do with our buttons is load on the object that has this script and then access each of these functions. So we can say each button, when you press it, it will perform whatever happens inside of this function. Back to Unity. I look at my button. Down the bottom here, we have our on-click event list. So we want to add a new on-click event, make this button do something. Add the on-click event. It's looking for an object. This is going to be any object we have that script running on. I just put it on the canvas to keep it consistent, but it's not doing anything to the canvas. It's not accessing it. This could be on an empty in your game. Grab my canvas, bring it down here, and inside of function, you can see a UI controller R script. And inside of it are two functions. So this is the start button. We wanted to run the start button function. So we select that there. On start. And then for the quit button, the exact same thing. Make an on-click event. Grab the object that has our UI controller, in this case the canvas. And then grab the function you've created. Now we should be able to click and see start button pressed, quit button pressed. The logic is working. So let's make them actually do something. Quit button is easy. It's a very simple one. It'll only work when we have a build created because it quits the application. It's not going to quit Unity while we're testing. Application, there it is, autocomplete dot quit. It will quit the running application. Quit button done. You can now quit the game. The start button is going to use our build settings that we were looking at already, specifically the scene index. So in our build settings, our main menu is 0. Our level is 1. We're going to use that number to refer to the scene when we jump into the next one. So to change scenes, this script needs an extra line at the top because we're using Unity Engine. We're going to access the scene management module. Dot scene management. And then on the start button, we can access the scene manager. Scene manager. There's a function in here named load scene. Can you guess what it does? It loads a scene either based on the name of the scene or the int scene build index. We know We want to go to the first level. That's scene index 1. And with that, we're done. The menu is done. Functional menu. I will save this scene. Make sure all of this is here. I can press play. Oh, did I save the script? Yes, I did. And now quit. Not going to quit, but it's trying to. Start. Bring us into our scene. And you see I have added some animation for when he walks. I'll show you how I did that. Now, we could stop there. We could get a little bit fancier and use the things we already have. Oh, do I have any models in here? No, probably not. Okay, I know what I'll do. Oh yeah, there. Modular roads. There's one. Okay. If I had a full level thing, I could use that in my scene. Probably looks like I'm doing nothing here. Back to my original scene, main menu. So we can add our level in to exist behind our actual menu. And then we can use the rotator script to add a little bit of rotation. So where's our scripts? No. Obstacle course pack, scripts, rotator. Not very good. Oh, I've broken it. Let's take a look at this. Public float speed 3F. Yeah. Speed times space self. I'm just going to add to all 3 axes. Oh, okay. Forget I'm trying to do any of that. But you can add something to go in the background before you play the game. Maybe not something like that. Something a little bit better. Anyway. With that, I can build again. Scenes are in here. Pick my location. And I should probably make an overarching builds folder. Builds all. Then add another one. Shameless. V2. 6, 12, 24. Now I have a build. Great. I can email this to people. How big is it actually? How much in megabytes? Would it be too much for an email? 70 megabytes? Slightly large. Slightly. You can compress it. But now when I open it up, it should open up my main menu first. Yeah, there we go. And you'll see the resolution has changed. Things look a little bit different. This is why you should build and test. It's not going to look exactly the same as it does in Unity. But it will run a lot more stable. So with slowdown and stuff, you can really test the real-time interactions that are happening. So for testing, yeah, obviously test in Unity a lot, but once in a while make a build and see how it's running properly. And I recommend everybody does that today. Make a build. Now I can start. Hooray! Oh, I said hooray too soon. Oh dear. I swear, Unity just knows. Just knows when I'm showing people things. Alright, let's see if the quit works. The quit works just fine. That doesn't work. I've got a problem to resolve. This is also why you make a build. So something's gone wrong. It could have been when I was messing around with the rotator or messing around in there. Yeah, I could have messed something up without realizing it. But anyway, main menus and making a build. I think we'll stop part 1 here and come back for the triggers stuff.